Hello and welcome to my Dare to be Happy podcast. In German, Trau dich happy. Today I want to dive with you into an area where you might not have been before. Maybe yes, maybe not. And as human beings, we all strive to live long with the maximum of health. So we want to be old, but only in a healthy way. And this is the podcast about Dare to be Happy, for ease and happiness at work, for success without hustle and stress all the time. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's good, but it's not healthy if we have that all the time. And also if we need it, it can serve a little bit like a drug. So what you have learned so far, if you're a loyal listener to my podcast in German and or in English, you might know that it is okay sometimes to be stressed and to have a little bit of a hustle. Nevertheless, it's important to understand how much is good for you as an individual and how you can regulate and manage, and what is your final goal, how you want to work, how you want to live. And so this, is something you might have learned already along your journey. So to have all that, what you have learned in this podcast so far, it's just a piece for a healthy and a long life. What do I mean with that? Especially in the US, there's a movement out there which is called longevity. Within this area, people talk about and investigate about and do studies about what is it, why some people live longer than others with a great amount of health. Why in some areas of the country the people live longer and more healthy than in other areas. And of course, there's maybe environmental topics or external factors. Nevertheless, the studies go a little bit back to what are the elements, what are the key elements why these people live longer with a good health. Not sure if you've heard about the blue zones, but these are areas in the world where people live longest with the biggest health. So there were investigations going on and studies and all of that for many, many years, but mainly I think in the US. And they detected kind of 4 main areas which are relevant for getting older with a great health. So what are these 4 pillars, and why do I talk about it in this podcast where we talk about Dare to be Happy, a positive mindset? How do we create a work environment where we feel safe and can do our work with ease, where we can bring in our strength, where we feel kind of recognized and valued? Why do I bring this here, you might ask yourself. And I was thinking if it makes sense to talk about this longevity or the elements of getting old with a good health. And I came to the conclusion that yes, it is important, because out of these 4 areas which we can observe, one of them is basically the one you are tackling when you're taking your emotional health seriously. And this is what we are talking about in this podcast. So just to give you an overview, everybody talks about healthy lifestyle. So what is it? So it's movement, it's sports, it's taking care about your body, it's making sure that you move your body, that you do sports, that you do stretching, that you do all the different kind of movements, that you don't sit too much, that you have a good balance between standing and sitting and all of that. So it's really about your movement in your daily life. The second area is about your food. What is it what you eat every day? Do you eat junk food? Do you eat healthy, meaning vegetables? How much meat do you eat? How much alcohol do you drink? How much sugar? How much protein? So it's really about what is it what you eat. So this is the second pillar. It's really about your food, what you put into your body. Let's put it like that. The third area, it's about resting. It's about recuperation. So how much time do you give your body to rest, to take pauses, to make pauses? Resting and recuperation from sports, but as well resting and recuperation for your brain, for your whole being. How much, let's call it me time, are you taking for yourself? And there we have a slight, it's not a boundary, but it's a slight move into the fourth area, which is basically the emotional health. So how healthy are you emotionally? So these 4 areas are relevant, super, super relevant for a healthy way of living and for getting old in a healthy way. And the last one, that's really the one I want to focus on. So how can you work on an emotional, healthiness? What is it what you can do? So you have learned a lot about it. I talked about the positive mindset. So it's really how you can control and work on your thinking, on your beliefs, on your thoughts. How can you kind of program them to be more positive? How can you react more positive? And this will influence your feelings, your emotions, and also then your actions, which then gets a positive kind of angel circle, I call it usually. The vicious circle is the opposite, so I usually call it the angel circle. Yeah, it's really about your positive thoughts, your positive mindset. It's also about how serious do you take your emotions? How serious do you take a negative emotion? We talked about it when I talked about the emotions at work. Are they good? Are they bad? What do I do about it? Is it really critical to be emotional at work or not? So emotions always tell you something. Yeah, make sure to listen to that podcast. It is really about taking them seriously and acting accordingly, reflecting and really thinking about what does this emotion wants to tell me? Why does it trigger me? Why does it feel so good? And what can I do about something which triggers me? So really take your body language and your emotions is a part of it. Take them seriously and make sure to act upon it. One very, very crucial element of it, and I think we did never talk about it yet in this podcast, it's setting boundaries. What are your personal boundaries? What are your boundaries at your job? Make sure that you know them and make sure that you are consistent in being clear about your boundaries and not stepping over. And if you're stepping over, make clear that this is a one-off and explain to yourself as well, why do I step over now? And this comes to another super important point when we talk about your emotional health, your purpose. When I work with teams, and when I support them on creating or being more high performing and making sure that they all work into the same direction, one important piece is the purpose. What purpose does this team has? Nevertheless, when you're talking about yourself, your individual, it is super important to understand what is driving you. What is your purpose? If you know why you are here on earth, if you know what matters to you, this is also or will be part of your emotional health. It also will help you to be more calm, to stay with you, to stay within you, within your being when something outside happens. It makes you calm, it makes you confident. So this was a very, very brief insight into what are the 4 main pillars of being healthy and living long with being healthy. And the emotional health can influence the physical health. It is as important as your physical health. So I think I did a podcast about what thoughts and what the positive mindset can do to you. And it also can support you in getting more healthy in terms of the physics. So the emotional healthiness is a key element to be happy and to be emotionally healthy. So if you want to learn more, if you want to deep dive more into what does it mean for me, then I would love you to contact me. Either you check out my homepage, which is www.luisatillmann.com, and Luisa is just with a U, and Tillmann is with 2 L and 2 N. So, luisatillmann.com. You have a contact form, and you can contact me via that one, or you can just write me an email. You will find my email address on there as well. So make sure to have them all 4 in order if you really strive to live long with a great health. And don't forget, especially your emotional health. It all starts with that. There are some practical tools like meditation. Then it's called a little bit a first aid kit for yourself on how you can deal with stress, or how do you deal with stress situations. It really will build up your resilience. So there are some tools, and maybe if you want to get started right now without a coach, make sure that you have your little first aid kit ready to use whenever you are stressed. What is it what you do? What is it what helps you? What is it what calms you down? Is there somebody you can talk to? Is there an activity which calms you down? How can you make sure that you do breaks to calm you down? I did one of the episodes about this, so make sure to listen to it, to the first aid kit. So with that, I hope you gained a little bit and light insight on the 4 pillars of living long with great healthiness. And I hope you understood how important the emotional health is with all of that. So have a great evening, day, whenever you listen to that podcast. Thank you very much for listening. You would help me if you leave a like or if you write a comment. If you like the podcast, you can also share the link with a friend, a colleague, or your family. It would be super cool. Have a great day. Your Luisa.